that beep do, Iggy girl? Whew. I need some AC on in here. Hey guys, today I am coming to you from my brand spanking new car. I'm so excited because, oh boy, it was a real process. That's my Iggy girl. It was a real process finding a new car. It took me 4 months of like solid researching to find the car that I wanted. So today I thought I would talk you through my car buying experience because I learned so much throughout this process, and also I thought I'd show you the car that I chose after all those months of research. Just as a little disclaimer, in case anyone was wondering, we are not driving right now, which is why neither of us have our seatbelts on. We're just parked on the property, but I thought it would be fun to do this video in the car. Iggy does actually have a doggo seatbelt that she wears when we are in the car for safety, of course. 5-star safety for my gal here. Are you drooling, honey? So to give you a little bit of background on my car purchase, I had a Suzuki Swift which I bought when I was 18, kept that for 10 years, did 250,000 kilometers on it. I drive a lot. Basically, I just thought it was time to upgrade to get a car that was not more age appropriate. I actually think the Swift is an awesome car. Mine in particular has been incredibly reliable, but yeah, I just felt like it was time. We'd been together for 10 years. Shifty Swifty needed to go to a new home. When I found out I had to move out of my apartment in December, I thought that was just like a great time to spend the money on a new car because, let's be honest, Sydney rent is extremely expensive. So that was like my time to get a car. So I had to move out of my apartment literally 3 days before Christmas or something like that. So I had it in my head that I'd go home for Christmas, over the holidays, I'd find the car I wanted, buy the car I wanted, and then I'd be back, you know, renting a month after that. Yep. So instead of finding a car in my 2-week holiday, it's instead taken me 4 months really to find a car. So to start with, I thought I knew the exact car that I wanted. I knew that I loved it, I'd test driven it, I loved the drive, it was super cute, super size appropriate, and it was in my budget. So that was the car I just thought I was gonna get. I did a ton of research online. It's super easy to do research online these days with like Cars Guide, car sales, like there's a million websites that you can look up reviews on. But this particular car, I could not find many long-term reviews. And for me, this is extremely important. I do a lot of driving, so reliability is like high on my list of priorities. I was really struggling to find anything about this car long term, so I started stalking the Facebook page. I was reading all the comments. I was seeing a lot of positive and a lot of negative about this car. Also, my dad works in motor racing. He has mechanics here all the time, so I literally grilled everyone that came into this property. Honestly, the reviews were all over the place. Like, I've never heard so many mixed reviews on a car. So I decided to take it one step further, which is what I would highly advise if you're struggling to get long-term reviews on a car. This may or may not be important to you, but for me, this was a big one. So this particular car was a European car, so I thought I would call a European specialist, like a mechanic that works specifically on European cars. It was like the best thing I ever did. So I called 2 local guys, and honestly it was a little bit hard to get in touch with them. They told me to call back one day, they told me to call at lunchtime next. Like, I was really worried that they weren't going to talk to me, and fair enough, I wasn't a customer of theirs in the past, so why would they spend time talking to me? But once I got them on the phone, they completely chewed my ear off about cars, about this car, about European cars. I learned so much information. One of them said to me, "I'm so glad you called me before purchasing this car." He basically said, like, if you're just going to be driving on weekends or doing really small distance, he said, great little car, super cute, but he said if you're doing a lot of driving, which I do, he just said long term for reliability, not so great. So literally the best thing I did throughout this process was get advice from those Euro specialists. European cars in Australia are generally more expensive than, say, Japanese made cars or Chinese made cars or Korean made cars. European cars are more expensive to maintain, to purchase, the parts are more expensive, the servicing is more expensive. I think that's pretty common knowledge when buying a car, but this one in particular, he said, was even more difficult than European cars in general. So from then on, I had a really open mind as to what small SUV I wanted. I knew I wanted a small SUV, but I didn't know what make, what model. I just had no clue from there. So I started doing research. The websites that you can get reviews on are actually super helpful, because sometimes you can literally just click on SUV, click on small SUV, so you get all the reviews of all of the cars available in that category, rather than just thinking, oh yeah, I've heard of Hyundai, I've heard of the Kona, or you know, whatever. It just makes it really easy to see what's in the range that you're looking at. So once I started researching again, I test drove a whole bunch of cars. I would like some things, but there'd be something that I didn't like about them as well. I don't think you could find me a car in this general range that I did not thoroughly research. So again, it took me a few months of doing that back and forth, and I was starting to really lose hope because I just didn't find a car that I absolutely loved. So I was going to go back and start re-test driving these cars, because I was like, maybe it was the area I drove it in, maybe the road wasn't great there, so the car felt extra bumpy. Like, you know, I was tossing up all these things, but to be honest, they just weren't the car for me. So after about 3 months of this, I decided to make a checklist, because I was starting to get confused, like what car had this again, who had that warranty. I wanted to make sure I had all the information in one place. So I made this checklist here. I've still got the checklist, the exact one that I used, and I will actually put a similar one, like a little bit more of a generalized one, in a link below, so you guys can download it if you do want to use it, because this was seriously so helpful. So I got to a point where I thought, okay, I'm just going to take this to all the dealers with small SUVs that I'm remotely interested in, and I'll just get them to tick off this list. And that's literally what I did, and honestly, no one even laughed at me. I was expecting them to be like, lol, look at this chick, but literally no one laughed at me. They all took it and went through it with me, and it was awesome. So I had top line priorities and secondary priorities. So some top line priorities for me were a sunroof, or like a panoramic roof, something to make it just have that little bit of luxury for me. I also wanted it to have a really good safety rating, so I thought a lane departure warning is an excellent thing to have. Also blind spot monitoring, and I am by no means a lazy driver. Like, I always check my blind spot, I turn around, I check it twice. What's up, honey buns? Where are you going? But the more safety features that I can get to make me an even safer driver, that's what I wanted. The other thing I noticed is that a lot of the cars I looked at would actually offer these features. However, they'd only be available on the top specs. When you buy a car and you see it advertised for $25,000 and you think, man, I can totally afford that. By the time you get all these safety features added, maybe even a sunroof, there's other things you can get added, it ends up being a $50,000 car. It's crazy the difference that there is between a base model and a top of the range model. I was also really particular about getting a reliable car, a reliable make, and I also wanted to make sure that the warranty was really good. So to put you out of your misery of knowing which car I purchased, I actually ended up getting the Nissan Qashqai, and I got the N-Tech variation. So the N-Tech at the moment is top of the range, but it will soon be replaced with the Ti, which is top of the range. I don't know what the difference is between those two, but the N-Tech had everything that I wanted. I'm so stoked with this car. Every single one of my boxes has been ticked. So I'm going to run you through the info I took for this particular car in case you're looking at getting this car. Okay, so first of all, it has an incredible panoramic roof. Check this out. Stunning. I mean, that just happened to be at the top of my list. It has a really beautiful, great looking interior, which I will show you. It has 5-star safety rating, hugely important. It has cruise control, which I haven't actually put to the test yet. It has lane departure warning, great safety feature. It has push start. Its fuel efficiency is at a 6.9, which I actually don't think is that bad for this kind of car. Its appearance gets a total 10 out of 10 for me. The interior is so luxurious. The exterior I personally think is really sporty and cool. I got the black one, which you'll see, and I think the black with the rims that it comes with, the rims, the wheels, I don't know what you call it. It just looks so cool, in my humble opinion. It's a comfortable ride. That's a big tick, really comfortable. Fast to start, which is like torque, I think you call it. It's not like the fastest car I've ever driven, but I have driven an electric car before, and man, they are fast, but it is extremely appropriate. It's way faster than the Swift, so to me it just feels amazing. It's also got like a real good solidness about it. Do you know what I mean? It just feels really it feels way bigger than it is actually, and I've read a lot of reviews that say that it is kind of designed to look and feel bigger than the actual measurements. And trust me, I did measure. Yes, I did. Reliability. So this is a reliable car. It's a Nissan. Nissan are known to be reliable. Road doesn't feel bumps on the road. So this has 19-inch alloys, and basically if you have 19-inch alloys, your tires are going to be low profile. This gets a little technical, but it's worth knowing. Low profile tires mean that they're thinner, smaller tires, which basically means you are going to feel more on the road, but they do look good. Whereas if I were to have gotten a base model, I think they have 17-inch alloys, which means the tires are bigger, and therefore it should be an even more like insulated ride. It should be even smoother, but I really liked the wheels on this, so I kept it as is. But there's always the option if I want to take it back, if I want it to feel even less bumps etc on the road, I can always do that too, but I'm super happy with it as is. I actually wrote rear air vents on here. I don't even know why, because like I don't drive that many people around all the time. It's mostly me and Iggy, to be honest, but so this doesn't actually have rear air vents. That's like the one thing that this didn't come with. But again, I just wrote it on there for shits and giggles. I didn't even care. Sound system is good. Have tested it with my gangster beats. Good space inside. I mean, I've come from Shifty Swifty, which was the smallest car ever. The boot on that thing was teeny tiny. This feels massive compared to that. Armrest in the front, yes it does have. Armrest in the back, yes it does have, with 2 cup holders, very luxurious. Decent back seat room, yes, I had to take my mum to test that because she's totally the kind of person that would get claustrophobic in a back seat. Honestly, I would too, but because it's my car, it means I'm driving it. So I took my mum along and she gave it the thumbs up. Okay, so the warranty, another really important thing. So you get 3 years with this car, and if you service with Nissan, you get another 3-year warranty on top of that. So it becomes a 6-year warranty. Also, they have a capped price servicing plan, which I do have the info on, but I'll let you guys do your research in case it changes a bit. But that's really good because it means you know what you're going to be forking out in advance. Super helpful. You get 3 years roadside assistance, which is also awesome. Even though I rely on my dad for these things, it's good to know that I have that there as well. It does have a GPS, by the way. It doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android CarPlay or something. Is that what it's called? But it does have an inbuilt GPS, which I haven't used. And also it has heated seats. Heated seats were by no means a priority. I honestly would have thought I would have needed to have spent, you know, Range Rover amounts to get heated seats, but here I am. Also, this car can park itself. That's not even on my checklist. Like, it was never even a consideration because, again, I thought that's Range Rover money right there. This car can park itself. Crazy. And yes, I've tested it, and yes, it works, and yes, it's so much fun and also terrifying at the same time. So I go really slowly while doing it. Okay, so one more thing I really want to discuss is, if you're getting a loan, please, please, please read your contracts thoroughly. My dad actually used to sell cars back in the day, so he's given me a lot of great advice. Just ask for all the information up front. Ask for your contracts up front so you can read them thoroughly before going to the dealer so that you don't feel any pressure to sign something that you don't agree with or feel comfortable with. I think it's just really good to be upfront, honest, and read things really thoroughly. And then finally, once you've done the deal on the car, you've sorted out your finance, you'll be taken to yet another person who will try to sell you extras. Now, this is not a bad thing. These could be extras that you absolutely want. They might be things like paint protection, some other kind of material protection for inside the car. It could be optional extras like floor mats, like roof racks. What other things are there? It depends on the car, it depends on the dealer. There's a whole bunch of accessories and things. So just bear in mind that you may have negotiated all this price and you might think that you're really happy with it, and then the extras come on top of that. This is all part of the process. I'm not trying to ruin any salespeople's income, but I just wanted you guys to be aware that these optional extras are optional, so you can say no, but if you do want them, just be aware that they are an extra fee on top of what you've already negotiated for the car, and you do need to budget for them. So I think that just about sums everything up. If you guys do have any questions, please let me know. I might have forgotten something. I'm hoping I haven't forgotten anything, but please do let me know. I'm happy to chat to you about my experience. I know this was a super random video for my channel, but honestly, I learned so much throughout this process. Like I said, my dad used to sell cars, but instead he left all of this up to me to do my research and all of that. And I'm so glad that I did. I have a much better understanding of the whole process now. So yeah, I'm happy to offer any advice that I can, but of course do your own research. Every car will be different, every dealer will be different. There's a lot of options out there. So if you are buying a new car, good luck. It's a lot of fun when you find the right one, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.